and welcome to On Point. My name is James Sims. Today we're going to be talking about an issue that affected Hollywood for nearly 3 months, the writer's strike. Now that it's over, where does the industry go from here? I think the big question we should probably start with is, was the strike worth it? I mean, there's been a lot of talk about who maybe won, who lost in this battle, and I was reading, Patrick Verone called it the most important strike of the century, the president of WGA West. But
the century's pretty young.
Well, he did add young century. So with that in mind, Ray,
it's the only strike of the century. But
was it a worthwhile strike?
I don't think we can tell. Down the road we'll be able to say the answer to that. Right now, I think it's still too fresh in everyone's mind. It only really officially ended this week with the ratification vote. You're going to get all kinds of views from a lot of different people. I mean, the rank and file in the WGA said, yeah, at least we're now on the radar as far as the internet. As far as getting percentages, as far as setting ourselves up for the future. We didn't get screwed like during with the DVDs way back when. Well,
David, I know you were on the front lines in the strike, personally affected by this with your project you were working on. What do you feel like coming out of it in the end? Was it worth it?
I think it was definitely worth not allowing this contract to go by without having resolved some of these issues, or at least put a framework in place for future resolution of these issues.
A lot of people were talking about, oh, well, no one's going to not let the Oscars go on. But a lot of people were sort of surprised when the Golden Globes got canceled, although perhaps most of the people in the industry weren't. I know the actors were saying they weren't going to cross the picket lines.
And that just ended up being a fiasco, of course.
Of course, right. Well, is it seriously a big deal that the Oscars were threatened, or were they really threatened?
I think they were threatened, and I think it was a big enough deal because, there are hundreds of millions of dollars involved to the city of Los Angeles, to the ABC network. We'd be talking about a 50% shortfall in viewership and ratings instead of a 20% shortfall like there was this year.
As writers, how do you react to Leslie Moonves's comments today that he said the studios really won in this, that they saved money in the long run, they cut costs, they got rid of these sort of bloated development deals, as they called it, on the lots. How do you as a writer react to those comments?
Well, they've got to put their spin on it, and they have corporate shareholders to satisfy. So, but there is an element of truth. They did save some money during the strike. If you want to look at the short term, and if you're not producing anything, then you're saving lots of money. They could shut down the whole network, and then they really save even more money.
The issue of the internet and the whole changing dynamics of the way people view TV, because it's definitely a big deal. That's a lot of what the strike is based on. Did the writers ask for enough? I mean, did they have enough foresight? Did you guys really get a good chunk of the pie? Because you never really know what's going to happen.
That's a good question, and I was surprised when I read our pattern of demands at the beginning of the strike, before we went on strike, what we were hoping to get, and I was kind of surprised at how little we were asking for, frankly. But I guess our negotiators were more realistic than I am, because they probably knew what we had a chance of achieving.